Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do my May wrap up and my June TBR. My May wrap up is going to go really quick. I'm just going to tell you what I read. I don't really want to go much into detail because I want to talk more in my June TBR. So let's go ahead and crank this out. The first book I read was The Air by Kira Cass. I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. I didn't like that one as much as the original 3, so I didn't read the other one. Then I read The Final 6. I gave this 3.5 stars. I really liked it. I want to continue on in the series. This is the first sci-fi book I read, and I really liked it. And then I read A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I tabbed it quite a bit. I love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. A new favorite. You all have heard of it by now, I'm sure, but it's really worth the hype. It's really good. And then I read Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This was my first Brandon Sanderson book, and I gave this one 5 stars as well. Really good, very unique and immersive. I really enjoyed the world he built, and I have the next one my friend let me borrow, so I'm going to be reading that hopefully soon. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend it as well. And then I read Illuminae. I unfortunately gave this 2 stars. It was not for me. I really didn't enjoy it. Sorry. A lot of people are going to be very mad about that, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. And then I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. 5 out of 5 stars. I really was just glad we got this book, honestly. It wasn't perfect. It was not what I was expecting at all, and I think a lot of people didn't like it for that reason. It was a lot of political insight more than the actual Hunger Games, which I think that's good to know going into it, so you don't think it's another Hunger Games story. But I thought it was a really cool perspective, and it's a book about a villain, so of course he's gonna be villainous, and that's the whole book. So don't expect to love him, because you won't. But I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Really liked it. I read it in like 2 days, so you should read it. You have to. I mean, you have to. And then I read The Beautiful by Renee Adeyemi. I gave this one 3 stars. I read it with a read-along with Penguin Teen, and we read like 100 pages a week. And I liked the first half of the book. I mean, I didn't like the first half of the book. I liked the second half more. So the second half I really enjoyed. I have an arc of the next book, so I'm definitely going to read that because I want to know where the story goes since I liked the second half so much. And then I read They Went Left by Monica Hess. I gave it 3.5 stars. This is an art copy of this one. I really liked it. A YA historical fiction, and I think it's a good historical fiction that is perfect for YA, and I think it does a good job of it still being hard-hitting, but also not too dark, not too intense. So I really liked this one, and if you haven't heard of it, please check it out if you're a historical fiction fan. And then I also attempted to read Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi, and I DNF'd it because it was not good. I was listening to the audio and I did not like it. So overall, I read 8 books this month, well, the month of May, which ended up being 3,765 pages. I read 3 sci-fi, 1 romance, 2 fantasy, 1 dystopian, and 1 historical fiction. So I feel like I, really kind of read every kind of genre this month. And yeah, my favorites were definitely A Court of Mist and Fury, of course, and Skyward. Those 2 were like top notch, like new favorites. Skyward, I just really liked that. And then Court of Mist and Fury, I have a reading vlog on it, so go watch that if you haven't. I go into detail, but you have to love it. It was good. It was worth the hype. For my June TBR, I am mostly going to be reading, if not everything I read in June will be a book by a Black author. And I think that's important because what the world is going through right now, I need to educate myself, and I need to read more books by Black authors because I just haven't. And going forward from that, I'm going to intentionally read as much as I can this month and support them and lift them up and share everything I can about their stories and what they've written, because there's some really good books out there. So the first book, and the one I'm currently reading, is Children of Blood and Bone. I've had this one forever, and I'm 145 pages in, and I really like it. It's a fantasy YA novel, and it's about a girl who, I think it's pronounced Zele. There's no more magic in the land. It's been stripped away, and she is a diviner, so she possesses magic, but it just hasn't come into her, like she hasn't gotten her magic yet. So it's about this story, an adventure. So it's about this story of Zele. I don't want to spoil too much, but it says it in the synopsis. So she meets the Princess Amari, and Amari runs away. So Zele and her get together, and they're trying to bring magic back to the land. So Amari's dad is also the king, so he's trying to track them down and obviously kills Zele for, you know, trying to do this when he's, you know, ruled out magic. So it's really interesting. There is a lot of information in this book as far as like the culture they've established. Like, I know it's fiction, I know it's fantasy, but it's really cool to read about. I'm really enjoying it. Also, the audiobook is really good. I've been listening to it, and the narrator is really good, super immersive. So I highly recommend this one. I know you've probably seen it, and I know you've probably read it, but I'm reading this one currently, and I'm loving it. The next book I want to read, I don't have with me, I'm gonna check it out from my library, is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. This is like a classic book. A lot of people have read it. It's been out for quite some time now, but it's about a girl who lives in the South, where there's still heavy racism. I believe there's still segregation too, and she's living in a time where everyone hates her because of the color of her skin. Her children are taken away from her and separated from her sister. She gets married to this man. She's in an unhappy marriage, and so it's about her going through that, her stories of what she's having to face during that time. But she meets another woman, and that woman tells her that she can get out from this, she can have a better life. So I think it'll be really interesting to read. Also, I did see that it's kind of, there's not really chapters, it's just like, it's like a journal. So the narrator is writing journal entries down of what she's going through, and I thought that was a really cool way to write a book, so I'm excited to get to that one too. The next book I'm going to get to this month is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This book, again, I mean, has so many awards. It is super well known in this community. I just got it yesterday, so I'm really excited to read it after Children of Blood and Bone, probably. So this book is about Star, and Star lives in a poor neighborhood, but she attends a predominantly white private school. So she's kind of torn between two worlds and two different environments. And then her best friend is killed, murdered by a police officer. And there's stories coming out saying that her best friend was a drug dealer and a gangster when she knows he wasn't. So it's about her standing up for her friend that was murdered and trying to tell everyone that those things said about him were not true. And I mean, it's very relevant to right now, and especially to what's going on. So I'm really excited to read it. Again, I have heard that this book is absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to read it. The next book I want to read this month is Our Stories, Our Voices. It's an anthology, so it's written by lots of authors. There's tons of them, but it's just about their stories growing up in America, being women of color, women of different religion, women from different places in the world, and what they've gone through having to live in America, and what they faced in that time. So I'm really excited to read this one. Barnes & Noble was sold out of like every book that I had planned on reading as far as like a nonfiction book goes, and I stumbled upon this one. I haven't seen anything about it. It says on the front, it says 21 YA authors get real about injustice, empowerment, and growing up female in America. So again, haven't heard anything about it, but I'm excited to read this one. I will definitely be posting about this one on my Instagram. I'll also probably do weekly reading vlogs of every book I read this month. Like every week of the month I'll have a reading vlog, just because I want to talk like in depth of each book I read. And the last book I have in my possession that I want to read this month is A Song Below Water by Bethany Simaro. It just came out this month in June, and I'm really excited to read this one. This is a modern fantasy about two girls who are sirens. So if you don't know, those are a type of mermaid, and it's about their friendship, it's about their self-discovery. Basically, in the synopsis it says it's a story about a fantastical story about today's racism and sexism. So this should be really good. I love mermaids. I love any kind of mermaid, so I think it'll be really cool to read about a way to tie in racism and sexism, but the main characters being mermaids. I think that's pretty cool, and I've heard really good things about this one already, and it's been out as I'm filming this for like 2 days now, so I'm excited to get to it. And the cover is beautiful. Look at this. I mean, wow. It's really pretty. So I'm gonna get to this one as well this month. That's all I have in my possession so far for the month of June. I'm gonna try to acquire more books that I can read this month, and every month, so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm really excited to expand my reading and read more books by Black authors, read more nonfiction, hear other stories that I have yet to learn about, because honestly we don't learn enough in school about injustice and racism. So I'm excited to educate myself more, but I wanted to make this video. I wasn't going to post it or film this, post anything, but I thought it was important to tell you guys and to show you what I'm reading, so hopefully you can check out these books too in the month of June, and we can all read them together. That would be really fun if we could all read more this month by Black authors. So I encourage you to do so. If you can't afford new books, check your library. There's apps you can use to get free books, and there's a ton of resources on there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please check out these books. I'm going to link them all in the description if you're interested, and you should be interested, so check them out. But have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!